Hey, now you probably found this video because you're looking to make some really cool drums on the Polyend Tracker, and I will say definitely check out that tutorial there because I did make a tutorial about programming drums on the tracker, but at the time we had to load individual hits into our instruments and we only have 48 of them, so really I filled up this line with drums and I created some really cool polyrhythms and really cool drum kits, starting off with the basics and getting into some really interesting territory, so definitely check that out. However, Polyend's been doing a bit of work on this machine and they've released 1.6 of the firmware, which allows us to take an individual instrument and save it out so we can bring all those settings straight back into the Polyend Tracker and get straight into making music. So me being me, I decided let's make some really cool drum kits that will allow me to add the drums I want. So all the snares, drums and hi-hats, all that stuff is all matched so it sounds exactly what I want, and then I can just put it into one instrument slot and just start programming my drums away. So I thought in this video let's talk about how I do that and how we can do it on the Polyend Tracker, as well as how we can grab loops and split them up to do like our aim and breaks or cut ups like that, and then we'll jump onto the DAW as well, so sort of how I record my machines here to create the sounds, and then how we can actually bring them together to create these instruments. So let's get straight into it. Alright, we're back with the Polyend Tracker and I've just been making a nice little groove here, not too complicated, something really interesting, but as I've been alluding to with my other videos, I have been designing these little drum kits to help me get into a sort of groove, and really it's just a collection of sounds that I can quickly use to get up to speed with what I'm trying to work on. So if I got a style of music that I'm trying to hit, I can sort of reference a drum set that I built for that specific purpose, as well as it offers us some nice things like this is just the drums for this song. And if I just mute this one, there's some combos, so it allows me to put everything in one track if I want to, or I can build out to multiple tracks. But having them this way and being able to like quickly, I can just grab one of these, like say if I want to replace that one with the hip hop, I'm just going to do that. Yes, there we go. We got our hip hop drums. And it just gives me a really quick way to start. And alongside having our drum kits, I thought let's do a bit about drum loops as well. So how we can add those together to create some really interesting drum beats. So first things first, let's dive into one of these drum kits. Now I'm just going to pick this pop one up the start and go in here. And as you can see, I've gone in here and lined up all the splits that I need to make this drum beat. So we got our two kicks, and you'll probably find, it will probably come apparent when I go into the actual design phase on how I make these sort of drum beats. But it's like I got a couple of kicks, bit different. Usually I might have like a bass line on this one, but I usually like to have this as like bass, snare, closed hi-hat and then hi-hat. But with these drum kits I like a little bit more variant, so usually I have two bass drums, I have a snare, and then I have some sort of clap or some sort of supporting percussive sound, more mid-range, and then I have my hi-hat sounds, and then a probably open hi-hat depending on what I feel like, and probably some flare sounds. And then on top of that, I like to go through and do like the combos. So if I hit those two together, and that gives me more control of what I'm doing. So if we play these ones, you can hear I brought some of those combo sounds over to here. And I've just been going through the way to like how my brain flows, because what I want is I want more control in the tracker workflow, because we do only have 8 tracks here. And if we have everything filled up, like say I've got 3 tracks here, I've only got 5 tracks here, but if I can keep all my drums in one nice little section, that gives me the whole tracker space to work with. And that's really where the power of these things come in, is being able to optimize into single lanes and then being able to control everything else. So that's sort of the workflow I have for creating these sounds. And really what I'm doing is going into some sort of DAW. I can actually use the Polyend Tracker to program out the sound as well. So it's like how I go into like the working file setup, and then I'll say if I was to program it again, I'll just go through, put them all in, make sure there's a bit of space in between here, and then I could go and say select all them, more render selection, and then I can create a new drum kit from here. So we can internally do it on the Polyend Tracker. Same thing, if I cancel and say go to aim and break. So now I've gone about and recorded a whole bunch of these into the tutorial package, just so we've got some different flavor to work with. And I've gone through and done the same thing, cut them up into drum kits, because I always find when I go to one of those aim and breaks, I load the thing in and then I have to go in and start putting all these cuts in, and it gets a bit monotonous, and I usually don't use them, but I like using like drum loops as like a filler in the background. Like if you go to the, if we go to the original one and I just have this one playing, like I've heavily like used the filters to like get it into a region where I really like it, and it adds a nice little percussive element in the background. And literally we could use the sampler on here. We could have like a loop playing on something. So it could be like a vinyl or a, say your phone, or something that you can get the audio into here, and we record it straight. You could record it off the radio and make those cuts on the Polyend Tracker. And all it is getting those, so count your 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, and then you got that section, and then you can go in. And once you got that section cut up, you can hold Shift and do equal slice, and that's how I did this one up here, because I know I got that 16 bar pretty much exactly, because when I wrote the MIDI file, it was pretty much robotic. But we can also use the slice tool, and in 1.6 they added a nice little feature, so when you press one of these buttons, you can come into a point and like say I want to edit slice 4, I can go add, and it puts a new line in there, and if I select adjust, I can go and adjust it to that point as well. And you can use the buttons to switch around to the point, so you can really start messing with the sound. So I've just put my equal slice back on because I actually enjoyed this little groove. But I'm going to actually transition over to the computer now and actually go about how I go about designing one of these sounds. Alright, I'm in front of Reaper, and this is the main way I like to manage my sound effects, and you will have your own DAW, so I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty of those details, but it's really here just to how I go about capturing these sounds. Now this could be a drum machine that I have behind me, or a synthesizer that I've chosen to play with, but what we're really doing is trying to capture those individual hits and the combo. And one way I like doing it is like, this is a raw recording, I'll just like play each note on a keyboard and then give it enough space in between and cut it all up that way. So if I just move that across, and here we have those combo hits that I was talking about. And then what I'll do is I'll go ahead and cut out all the light space. And not everything, because on the Polyend Tracker we do have that automatic find a position, and I don't want to lose too much detail, so I give myself a little bit of space to put that marker in between. And like with this, I'm using XO, which is a drum sampler that has some really nice features for managing sounds. But this is where I was talking about like getting an idea of what sort of sounds that you want to have in these drum kits, because I really enjoy how XO has the 8 sounds on the side. So it's like how I was saying, I have like a low and a medium kick, the snare, the clap, the close hi-hat, open hi-hat, and some flavor sounds there. Sort of use that in your style, because when I open up any one of my drum kits, they're all going to have the same sort of idea behind it. So there'll be kicks where kicks are supposed to be, snare where snare is supposed to be, claps, and then I can just quickly change or add different drums to what I'm working on. And it's just really easy to know where certain things are. Also, if you're doing it as well, I like to glue them together, and then I've just got them all lined up here ready to go. So I'm going to export these ones out now, and I'm going to show you a different way that we can do it. Now we're at the interesting point of this video, because I was like, alright, we'll go over the Polyend Tracker, how to set up one of these drum kits, go a bit over Drumloops, then go onto the DAW and how we can piece together one of these drum kits. But when I was on the Discord the other day, someone else was solving this issue as well and built this wonderful little tool for us that we can go and build our drum kits. Now, definitely show Jap here some love, and my Australian is probably messing up that name, but yeah, he's done a really nice tool for us, and all we really need to do is I've got a file here of some drum kits from a lovely 808 from Mars. Now, if you don't know about From Mars, they're a really good website for getting samples from old drum machines and that. So definitely check them out and see if you can get it on special when you can. But all we need to do is drag and bring these up here. And then we can go through and hear all the samples. We can say remove it. So if we wanted to make a shorter drum kit, like I probably want to bring these up to the top and do some other bits and pieces. But he's also added that nice little feature where we can actually blend a few of these, so we can bring in extra sounds as well and be able to create those combo sounds, which has made this a very valuable tool because we can manage the trimming, we can chest out all the bits, and then all we need to do is I can just give it, so we go 808 and download, and it's given us a nice little PTI file, which I can just throw straight onto the Polyend Tracker, and this should work. So this has been something that's been really useful as well. So definitely check this out, and I will put links to this below. Now I want to give a second thanks to Jap, because that was a really cool tool that he's built for the Polyend Tracker, and really when you start getting the idea of making these kits, like it saves you filling up the space. You can just grab one drum kit, start putting in, and then make the groove around it, and then you can add extra sounds or add an extra kit to create some really complex grooves. And it's not just percussive sounds, like you can really start to experiment with like creating chains of sounds that you find really useful, so you can create ear candy or a whole bunch of other sounds. So definitely get in the mindset of adding these things. Now I'm going to leave a bunch of links down below, definitely to that Polyend Tracker tool for you to have a play with. I will leave a link to From Mars because I'm not affiliated with them, but it was a really good sample pack for me to get my hands on. I have all my analog gear here, and I do a lot of sound design stuff to make drums, but really when you need that like machine from yesteryear or some acoustic sounds, it's definitely good to have those sample packs. And I'm definitely going to leave a link below to my Gumroad with all the tracks that are built on here, all those instruments. Just put them in one file so you can start loading them onto yours and get straight into making those sounds. And on that note, I hope you found this one useful, and if you did, definitely give it that thumbs up, because it does tell the algorithm to point this video to other people that might be looking to make some drum kits on the Polyend Tracker themselves. So definitely feel free to comment down below on how you could possibly use something like this, or if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them down below. And yeah, what I might do is I'm going to probably sit and play with this track a little bit more, get some more of those bass lines in there. So I'm going to have a play here, and I look forward to seeing you next time.